Hello student. So we are learn about motion and time. Now in this part we have learned about other measuring speed. Having learned how to measure time and distance, you can calculate the speed of an object. Let us find the speed of a ball. Activity दी है, draw a straight line on the ground with chalk powder or lime and ask one of your friend to stand 1 to 2 meter away from it. Let your friend gently roll a ball along the ground in a direction perpendicular to the line. Note the time at the moment the ball crosses the line and also when it come to rest. How much time does the ball take to come rest? कितना टाइम उसे लगता है वो. ये क्या दिया हुआ है, सुंदल एट जंतर मंतर दिल्ली, और ये आपको वॉच क्लॉक्स के बारे में दिया है. मेजरिंग द स्पीड ऑफ अ बॉल, बॉल की स्पीड मेजर करने के लिए आपको दिया हुआ है. ठीक है, क्या दिया है, मेजरिंग द डिस्टेंस बिटवीन द पॉइंट एट विच द बॉल क्रॉस द लाइन एंड द पॉइंट वेयर इट कम्स टू रेस्ट. यू कैन यूज अ स्केल or a measuring tape. Let different groups repeat the activity. Record the measurement in table. In each case, calculate the speed of the ball. You may now like to compare your speed to walking or cycling with that of your friend. You need to know that distance of the school from your home or from some other point. Each one of you can measure the time taken to cover the distance and calculate your speed. It may be interesting to know who amongst you is the faster. Speed of some living organisms are given in table. Kilometer per hour. You can calculate the speed in meter per second yourself. Rockets launching satellites into Earth's orbit often attain speed up to 8 km per second की होती है उनकी speed. On the other hand, a tortoise can move only in a speed of about 8 centimeter per second. वो सिर्फ 8 centimeter जा सकता है. Can you calculate how fast is the rocket compared with the tortoise? Once you know the speed of an object, you can find the distance moved by it in a given time. All you have to do is to multiply the speed by time. Thus distance covered equals to speed and time. You can also find the time an object would taken to cover a distance while moving with a given speed. You might have seen a meter fitted on top of a scooter or a motorcycle. Similarly, meters can be seen on the dashboards of car. ठीक है, कार पे होता है. Buses and other vehicles shown the dashboard of a car. Note that one of the meter has kilometer per hour written at the one corner. This is called a speedometer. उसे हम क्या कहते हैं, speedometer. It records the, ये जैसे कि आपको दिया हुआ है speedometer, speed directly in kilometer per hour. There is also another meter that measures the distance moved by the vehicle. This meter is known as the odometer. उसे हम कहते हैं odometer. While going for a school picnic, Paheli decided to note the reading on the odometer of the bus after every 30 minutes till the end of the journey. Later on, the record her reading in table. Can you tell how far was the picnic spot from the school? Can you calculate the speed of the bus? Looking at the table, Bujo teased Paheli whether she can tell how far they would have travelled in 9:45 am. Paheli had no answer to this question. They went to their teacher. She told them that one way to solve this problem is to plot a distance time graph. Let us find out how such a graph is plotted. ठीक है, ये दिया डिस्टेंस टाइम ग्राफ के लिए. यू माइट हैव सीन दैट न्यूज़पेपर, मैगजीन etc प्रेजेंट इंफॉर्मेशन इन वेरियस फॉर्म ऑफ ग्राफ्स टू मेक इट. ये ग्राफ दिया हुआ है, इसमें टाइम दिया हुआ है. 8 बजे तक में उन्होंने कितना किया था, मतलब ऑडोमीटर पे रीडिंग क्या थी, और वो लोगों का डिस्टेंस क्या था 0. फिर 8:30 पे, फिर 9 पे, 9:30 और 10 पर. ठीक है, और ये क्या दिया है, रन्स यानी कहाँ तक गए, और ओवर्स. ये ओवर और रन का ग्राफ दिया हुआ है. अ बार ग्राफ शोविंग रन्स स्कोर्ड बाय अ टीम इन ईच ओवर. ठीक है, ये बार ग्राफ है. The type of graph shown in the figure is known as a bar graph. Another type of graphical representation is a pie chart, जो कि हमारे मैथ्स में आता है. The graph shown in figure, example of a line graph. The distance time graph is a line graph. Let us learn to make such a graph. ये है क्या है, ये पाई ग्राफ है आपको दिया है, ठीक है. और ये क्या है, लाइन ग्राफ, ठीक है. वेट और एज के हिसाब से दिया हुआ है. टेक अ शीट ऑफ पेपर, ड्रॉ टू लाइन perpendicular to each other on it as shown in the figure. Mark the horizontal line x or x dash. It is shown as the x-axis. Similarly, mark the vertical line y 0 y dash. It is called the y-axis. The point of intersection of x dash and y dash is known as the origin O. The two quantities between which the graph is drawn are shown along these two axes. We should show the positive value on the x-axis and along OX. Similarly, positive value on the y पे क्या होगा, OY. In this chapter, we shall consider only the positive value of quantities. ये आपको ग्राफ पेपर दिया, ठीक है. इसमें देखो कर दिया y dash OX और y OY dash. Therefore, we shall use only the shaded part of the graph shown in figure. Bucha and Paheli found out the distance traveled by a car and the time taken by it to cover the distance. Their data is shown in table 13.6. ठीक है, ये आपको डेटा दिया हुआ है. You can make the graph by following the step given below. Draw two perpendicular lines to present the two axes. Mark किया हुआ है OX and OY. Decide the quantity to be shown along the x-axis and y-axis. K shown in the time along the x-axis and the distance along the y-axis. Choose a scale to represent the distance and another to present the time on the graph. For the motion of the car, scale could be 1 minute इक्वल्स टू क्या लिया है, 1 सेंटीमीटर, और 1 किलोमीटर इक्वल्स टू भी लिया है 1 सेंटीमीटर, ठीक है. मार्क वैल्यू फॉर द टाइम एंड द डिस्टेंस ऑन द रिस्पेक्टिव एक्सेस अकॉर्डिंग टू द स्केल यू हैव चूजन. फॉर द मोशन ऑफ द कार, मार्क द टाइम 1 minute 2 minute on x-axis and origin. Similarly, mark distance 1 kilometer 2 kilometer on the y-axis. Now you have to mark the points on the graph paper to represent each set of value of distance and time. Observe record number 0 minute and distance moved also 0. The point corresponding to this set to value on the graph will therefore be the origin itself. After 1 minute, the car has moved a distance of 1 kilometer to mark this set of vacuoles. Look for the point that represent 1 minute on the x-axis. Draw a line parallel to the y-axis at the point. Then draw a line parallel to x-axis from the point corresponding to distance 1 kilometer on the y-axis. The point where these two lines intersect represents this set of vacuole on the graph. Similarly, mark on the graph paper the pointed corresponding to different sets of values. इस तरीके से पॉइंट करना है, ठीक है. पहले 1 किलोमीटर के लिए और 1 मिनट के लिए दोनों एक जगह पर आएंगे, 2 मिनट 2 किलोमीटर एक जगह पे आएंगे, फिर स्ट्रेट लाइन मिली, ठीक है. इस तरीके से लाइनिंग क्या हो रही है, बढ़ती जा रही है. फिगर 13.3 शोज द सेट of point on the graph corresponding to positions of the car at various times. Join all the points on the graph as shown in the figure. It's straight line. This is the distance time graph for the motion of the car. If the distance time graph is a straight line, it indicates that the object is shown moving with a constant speed. However, if the speed of the object keep changing, the graph can be of any shape. तो वो किसी भी शेप का होगा. अगर वो constant स्पीड से जा रहे तभी वो स्ट्रेट लाइन में ग्राफ आएगा हमारा. जैसे कि ये स्पीड ये आ रहा है स्ट्रेट लाइन में ग्राफ, तो ये क्या है, कांस्टेंट स्पीड में है इसका, ठीक है. ये बस की दे रखी है, जो टेबल दिया था उसका ग्राफ है. जनरली द चॉइस ऑफ द स्केल इज नॉट एज सिंपल एज इन द एग्जाम्पल गिवन अबव. वी मे हैव टू चूज 2 different scales to represent the desired quantities on the x-axis and y-axis. Let us try to understand this process with an example. Let us again consider the motion of the bus. that took Paheli and her friend. तो ये आपको ग्राफ आगे दे रखा था, वही है और कुछ नहीं है, ठीक है. सुटेबल जो स्केल लेनी है वो हम ले सकते हैं. द डिफरेंस बिटवीन द हाईएस्ट एंड द लोवेस्ट वैल्यू ऑफ ईच क्वांटिटी, द intermediate value of each quantity, so that we with the scale chosen it convenient to mark the values on the graph and to utilize the maximum part of the paper on which the graph is to be drawn. Okay, फिर क्या दिया है? Suppose that we have a graph paper of size 25 centimeter, one of the scale which meets the above condition and can accommodate the data of table. Distance 5 km equals to 1 centimeter and 6 minutes equals to 1 centimeter. Can you now draw the distance time graph on the motion of the bus? Is the graph drawn by you similar to that shown in figure? Distance time graph provide a variety of information about the motion when compared to the data presented by a table. For example, 13.5 gives information about the distance moved by the bus only at the some definite time interval. On the other hand, from the distance time graph we can find the distance moved by the bus at any instant of time. मतलब इस ग्राफ में आपको टाइम फिक्स दिया आधे घंटे का, ठीक है. और ऐसे अगर हमको बनाना हो तो हम कोई भी टाइम इंस्टेंट टाइम हो सकता है. सपोज वी वांट टू नो हाउ मच डिस्टेंस द बस हैड ट्रैवल्ड एट 8:15. अगर 8:15 पे उसने कितना ट्रैवल किया तो क्या करेंगे? वी मार्क द पॉइंट करस्पॉन्डिंग टू द टाइम on the x-axis. Suppose the point is A. Next we draw the line perpendicular to the x-axis. Point A, we then mark the point T on the graph at which this perpendicular line intersecting it. Next we draw a line through the point T parallel to the x-axis. The intersect the y-axis at the point B. The distance corresponding to the point B on the y-axis OB gives us the distance in kilometer converted by the bus. How much is this distance in kilometer? Can you now help Paheli to find the distance moved to the bus? 9:45 am पे वो आप कर सकते हो डिस्टेंस टाइम ग्राफ. थैंक यू.